Chapter 17. Click. And now, sir? Please click on the bartender, Rex said to a lady. Yes, that's right. Once Netero told Rex that the boss was not a bad person, Rex desired to do his own investigation. For that he needed the Hunter website, but his N can't differentiate the colors of the pixels since he's blind, so he needed assistance. The lady helping him sat on the chair while he stood behind her and gave her instructions. "What kind of information would you like?" said the bartender in the computer, as he polished a glass mug. "What does it say now?" asked Rex. Are you sure this is the right website, Mr. Hunter?" "Oh, don't worry about it, just tell me already." First of all, contacts with other hunters, then information about individuals." "Yeah, please click on that one." "Roger that, sir. What name should I type in there?" "Naiki." "And the last name?" "He's a hunter, write that in the details and specifics, there has to be something like that when you search for people." "Oh, I see it." After she typed in the name with the special information, the bartender started talking again. "It will cost 50 million Jenny." Rex hit the enter key. Suddenly a golden light came from the computer and Rex was suddenly in a bar, the same bar he has seen in the anime. It's really the Hunter's Tavern. Small reminder how the bartender looks like, greater than. But before Rex could further analyze the tavern, the bartender just started talking. The 38-year-old Naiki Kai is a member of the Honorable Japan Kai tribe. Every 7 years, the families of the Kai tribe gather their kids, who range in age from 5 to 12, and only the best of the bunch is taught Nen. It is fairly certain that Naiki was not the chosen one, since he did not have Nen prior to the Hunter exam, which he completed at the age of 15. He calls his Hatsa Saizoku and nothing is really known about it, even its abilities remain a mystery to us. And further? Further information will cost you 1 billion Jenny. Rex's mouth was wide open. 1 billion Jenny? That's almost all my savings. TSK, take my money. Rex took his card and gave it to the bartender to scan. "Thank you for your purchase." Then he received his card back. The person who taught Naiki Nen, who recruited him and gives him daily orders till this day, was at that point in time, the 1-star hunter, Aziel. Despite the fact that both are now 2-star hunter, Naiki still listens to Aziel's orders. The orders can appear very random from time to time, but they never break any of the Hunter Code's 10 principles. If he still continues to obey Aziel's commands, doesn't that only indicate that he regards this Aziel as his superior, in this case his boss? Maybe this Aziel is the boss. What does Naiki also refer to that Aziel as? Asked Rex, handing over his card again, hoping it wouldn't cost too much. But the bartender just kept on talking. "He calls him boss, but to find out more about Aziel I would need 100 billion Jenny." From 1 to 100 billion. "It's okay," Rex replied. "Just tell me how to get out of this tavern." "We hope to meet again," said the bartender. Suddenly a golden light had enveloped Rex's body. Haha, just a little joke. "Sir Hunter," the woman who just helped him with the computer shook his body. "Huh? What am I doing on the floor?" Rex muttered as he straightened up. "You collapsed so suddenly. However, a kind man who just so happened to be behind you saved you from the fall." She pointed at the man. Rex stood up and shook the man's hand. "Thank you, Ver." But this turned out to be a big mistake, which became clear only after he analyzed the person with his end a second after he gave him his hand. "No problem, young sir." "Why are you here, Naiki?" "Exactly 1 month prior." After his conversation with Netero was over, and Netero assured him that these guys weren't dangerous and wouldn't do evil to him, there was still a little doubt in Rex's heart. "Meet me in exactly 1 month, in York New City, Naiki." That's what the note said. If Netero really believes that they aren't evil, then they wouldn't do anything bad to me if I wouldn't come. He looked at the note again. Besides, didn't I even agree to all of this? Rex threw the pearl necklace on the floor and crushed it with his feet. The following month, Rex flew to the Federation of Ochima, the farthest land to Yorknu City. And right there he had his body checked by an exorcist, from whom Netero had told him about. The exorcist had costed Rex a lot of money though. However, once the exorcist had completed the analysis, he found out that there was no Nen curse, nor a Nen tracking device attached to Rex, or that there is any evidence of someone observing or stalking him. After the analysis, Rex was a bit relieved and gave him the money, even though it was a waste of money. But knowing that everything was fine with him was better for his heart than the money. However, the exorcist offered Rex the contact information of another Nen user who had a Hatsa suited to get a lot of information through fingerprints before he bid farewell to him. After a week, Rex reached this Nen user, and handed him the note, which he kept in a plastic bag. It was the note he got from Sanbika in the hospital. However, all he discovered were his own fingerprints and those of Sanbika, who was now identified as Sanbika Norton, which to be honest was not very helpful to him. Of course, he also did plenty of training to get his muscles back, possibly even more. He also trained Zetsu in his sleep and used Ren daily. But was aware that he couldn't pull any more information with the help of Nen user. Which is why he headed to the Ochima Desert to create his spare body deep in the ground. Why he didn't do it a couple of weeks earlier. Because his Hatsu increases the hostility of the people around him a bit, which could have made the meetings with these Nen users a bit problematic. After leaving the desert and returning to civilization, he headed straight to a public library to check out the Hunter website, which was his last remaining hope for information. On this day, Naiki should have been in the other side of the world. He should have awaited Rex outside the casino, in Yorknu. He could never have stood in front of Rex. But he did. Why are you here, Naiki? Chapter 18. Why are you here, Naiki? Naiki took something out of his back pocket, which made Rex very cautious. What, you really thought I'd be in Yorknu right now? Rex nodded. Yeah, and how did you find me? But Naiki just smiled. I didn't find you, because for that, I must have lost you first. Rex gave him a perplexed look, but Naiki didn't elaborate on what he meant by his words. The object he took out of his pocket was a funny-looking fruit with swirl patterns on the fruit skin. Naiki threw it at Rex. What is this? Do you really think I'm not sorry for beating you up so badly? Well, this is to pay off my debt. Rex gave him a somewhat skeptical glance. And that's why you're giving me a fruit? It's a rosea, he shouted, but realizing they had the attention of everyone in the library, he asked Rex to discuss somewhere else. Rex followed Naiki, since he had no other option and was constantly in danger of getting a blade immersed in his brain. But before that, Rex urged Naiki to walk in front of him. All the while, Rex had been using Ken to be ready to fight at any time. As the two moved along the street, Naiki started to talk. Are you aware that the rosea fruit possesses a magical quality? What kind? When you eat this fruit, it turns a part of your aura into building blocks, which your body can use quite well. Rex listened carefully. Naiki turned around. Usually you defecate most building blocks after the body uses like 1% of them, because the body does not need so many. But for those with muscle deterioration like you, the body has much more possibilities to use them. It helps them get their muscles back to their best form and condition. Rex crossed his arms. And why should I take this seriously? Do you honestly think I'll believe something like that? He's right. A voice came shouting from far behind. Although the voice was considerably deeper now, Rex recognized it immediately. He jumped a great distance away from Naiki and widened his N. This can't be. The person came running, and finally stood in front of Rex, getting ready for a fist bump. He smiled. Yo. Did you miss me? Is it you? Neo? Yeah? Who the fuck else? Come on bro, don't leave me hanging. The pedestrians seemed to be annoyed by Neo's shouting, which is why they made a big bow around the three to avoid them. which made Rex believe that this Neo real, not an N clone. Otherwise the pedestrians would never have noticed him. Rex? You good? Feeling sick? Rex gave him a fist bump. It got quiet. Neo wanted to kill the weird atmosphere, so he started talking. I know you have a lot of questions, don't be shy, don't hold back. Rex began to think. Do they know of my existence because of you? You don't like that? Rex swiftly grabbed Neo's head aggressively and whispered in his ear. Do you know what that crazy guy did to me? Do you know that? Yeah, but stop twisting my ear, it hurts. Rex let go of Neo. And how do you make it sound good? I know that what we did was bad. It wasn't just bad, it was fucking retarded. Fucking stupid. Rex cut him off. If they had you on their team, why didn't they send you? Sigh. Listen to me, Rex, we need you. Even when boss sent Naiki, it was for your best. He knows the best how things work. Please trust me. Trust? Rex pondered. Then explain to me what the big deal with you guys is if you want trust, why this group even exists, what your purpose is. And why do you even need me? When you have strong people like Naiki, me being part of the group is insignificant. Isn't it? Suddenly Naiki appeared behind Rex. Oh, I can tell you all that. Rex jumped away and kept his focus on Naiki. Okay. Say it. But not near me. Yeah, calm down, Tilda. Naiki tried to speak, but Neo gave him a brutal kick to the face instead. I warned you that you shouldn't have been so hard on Rex. Now he's completely scared of you. Naiki palpated his nose. You're lucky you didn't hurt me, or I'd have to report it to boss. However, we're not here to fight each other. Naiki pointed to the fruit Rex was still holding. This fruit is a miracle substance, that grows in a huge and hazardous continent you don't even know of. Be honored to devour it as it is now in your hands. Rex slowly nodded. We want you to eat this fruit so you can get back on your feet as soon as possible. You haven't even moved naturally since you got out of the hospital. All those miles you ran and walked, you could only do it with the help of your nen. Neo glared angrily towards Naiki. That's not a way to convince anyone, you idiot. Especially after you inflicted a trauma on them. Neo grabbed Naiki's hair and quickly made a crater in the ground with Naiki's skull. Rex, we are so sorry. Please forgive this retard. We'll do anything to make you forgive him. Naiki wanted to raise his head, but it was too late to deny Neo's statement. Rex had started grinning. Anything? Rex rubbed his hand against his chin. When Neo recognized his grin, he began to panic. I'll not everything. I wasn't going to. Rex immediately realized what Neo was thinking. Okay. 2 things. The goal of this organization and what's your boss's Hatsu? If you tell me those, maybe I'll forgive you. Naiki looked annoyed at Neo. Well, the first thing was, but before he could answer Rex's questions, he saw a figure getting nearer, which is why he decided to end his sentence abruptly. Rex, who is still blind, wondered why Neo stopped speaking, but once he felt a person with a very powerful nen entering his N, he had an idea why. His cloak was carried high by the wind, his face was determined, and his eyes appeared to be filled with wisdom. I believe you should have saved such personal questions for your meeting with me, but whatever, I am here after all. 1. It was the boss. Chapter 19. What do you know about the Dark Continent? Rex and the boss, who introduced himself as Aziel, sat across from each other. The room was completely black. They were in a bunker, one from an abandoned building. Logically, there were no windows. The only thing that connected the two with the outside world was the entrance, but it has been covered by a thick metal door. The only thing that separated them was a small table. Rex shrugged his shoulders. That's the first I've heard of it. Aziel looked at him with great focus. You certainly know about the V5, don't you? A group formed by the 5 most powerful heads of state in the world. And do you know why? For the economic interests, I think? It was more than 3 centuries ago when they were formed the V5. They merged so that they could align their interests in technology, economics, and ethics, so that wars can be quenched or never break out in the first place, Rex responded, as he recalled a brochure he had read back then in the tower, to know more about the Hunter x Hunter world. Silencing wars? Connecting economic interests? No, the V5 is neither a military pact nor an economic organization. Rather, it exists to confront or oppose the Dark Continent, Aziel replied with a light chuckle. Confronting the Dark Continent? He asked in awe. Yes, Aziel replied. In front the Dark Continent, humanity is nothing, not even a dust particle. Which ironically united the greatest and most powerful nations of the known world and made them sign an agreement to forbid voyages to the Dark Continent. These voyages will only bring misfortune to mankind. Still, after all this talk, Rex wasn't sure where he was getting at. Is your goal to conquer the Dark Continent? They spoke at the same time, synchronously, which made Rex very puzzled. Damn, am I that easy to read through? No, it must be something else. But Aziel interrupted his thoughts. No, our goal is to find artifacts and compounds from the Dark Continent on the human world, and then eradicate them. Artifacts? He asked, trying not to look suspicious, since he already knew from his previous life that the Dark Continent yields infinite treasures. Aziel took a fruit from his pocket. This is the rosea, of which you have already consumed half because it was already plenty for your recovery. You might believe that this fruit possesses tremendous magical qualities. However, it is not even valuable in comparison to other plants found on the Dark Continent. It is like a single blade of grass. There are some that can cure all the diseases of the world, there are some that can give you infinite vitality, there are even some that can increase your muscular strength tenfold. But why do we eradicate them, if they are oh so good and magical? Rex shrugged once again as he awaited Aziel to carry on with his monologue. Well, I'll tell you, because regardless of how many magic treasures the Dark Continent bestows onto humanity, there are many more calamities that it will send down upon us. You'll see what I meant in a few seconds. He stood up and stood sideways next to a wall. Suddenly a portal appeared on that very same wall. A man wearing a black mask, holding a folder that said Top Secret in big red paint, emerged from the portal. The first thing he saw was Rex. Hey, what are you doing here? That man conjured a gun and pointed it at Rex, which is why Rex quickly went under the table for cover while he turned on Ken. Aziel casually threw a karate chop toward the back of his neck, knocking him out cold, causing him to collapse to the ground. After taking the folder, he stood up. Come Rex, this portal will only be open for 5 minutes. Rex hesitated to stand up. But the urge on magic pulled his soul and the two went into the portal. And even if he died, he still had a spare body, so he went in. When the two of them went through the portal, 5 armed soldiers took them in their sight, guns pointed at their faces. Stop! A person shouted, wearing a gas mask and an astronaut-style research suit. Picture of that guy here, greater than. The soldiers put their weapons down. Walking in between the soldiers, the researcher in the astronaut-style suit bowed to Rex and Aziel. Welcome back, Aziel. Once more, thank you for your tremendous assistance. If that thief had gotten away, we would be in serious trouble. The researcher thanked Aziel again after receiving the folder, but then saw Rex, who instinctively hid behind Aziel. Don't you think a kid shouldn't be here? Fear not, he is blind. I see, the researcher bowed again, but this time with shame. Don't worry about it, we'll look around here a bit. The soldiers cleared a path through which the two could pass. Rex looked around as he expanded his N. There were many researchers writing notes, talking, or transporting boxes from A to B. It all felt very modern. There were also a lot of capsules, but since he can't let his N pass through the glass of the capsules, he ignored it. Aziel watched Rex's curiosity. This is the main research center of the New World, of the Dark Continent. picture of the main research center, Rex can only see the outer shells of everything, since everything is airtight. The reason why he doesn't get sad, greater than. Rex wasn't sure what to make of it, especially since he had a strong urge to explore everything, yet being blind made him miserable. What brought me here, and why? You are aware that I am blind, so why would you take me to a place that's as isolated as it gets? Come here, Aziel said as he grabbed Rex's hand by force. When they finally arrived in front of a glass window, he was confused and unsure of why Aziel had brought him there. Go closer to the glass pane, Aziel commanded. No sooner said than done, but Rex still didn't know what he wanted him to do. He even went so far as to press his face against the glass. But suddenly Rex was caught off guard when a figure crashed into the glass. He jumped one step back. Damn! What was that? Picture what that looked like, greater than. While Rex was still unable to look through the glass, he experienced a very odd sensation. Like a moth drawn to a light, he was drawn to it and moved nearer. His skin was sweating, he had regained his muscles from the rosea fruit, and should have been full of self-confidence, the same confidence he had while taking the hunter exams. But he was afraid. This fear grew stronger the closer Rex got to this entity, but curiosity made him forget all the alarms in his body. This presence and Rex were now facing each other, the only thing separating them was a glass pane, but Rex could still feel the entity's nen. It was a feeling he had never felt before in his life. What eye is that? Asked Rex fearfully. Aziel grabbed Rex's shoulder and moved him away from the entity. This is pure despair. Chapter 20. This is the despair of a person who has come into contact with the Dark Continent. So you want to close all the ways of the Dark Continent so that something like this can be prevented? Aziel nodded. Did you develop your Hatsu specifically to locate the artifacts of the Dark Continent or any links? Or does your Hatsu have the ability to eradicate them forever, out of this world? No, Aziel said. To be more specific, because my Hatsu works the way it does, I am in this position against the Dark Continent. Someone else on the team is responsible for eliminating those artifacts. And what is your Hatsu? Rex asked him. Aziel checked the area. Let's enter the portal once more. It will only remain open for another minute, and besides, there are too many people and cameras present, so this is definitely not the finest location to divulge your most sensitive secrets. I guess so. Aziel yet again took hold of Rex's hand as they bid the explorers a final farewell as they eventually entered the portal before it vanished. After the two of them walked over the unconscious body of Thief, they sat facing each other again. So, would you like to start? Rex asked. You've grown, just like I expected. Rex had a questioning face. As you expected? Aziel closed his eyes and looked at the ceiling. You think everything you've experienced so far has been a twist of fate? Rex was confused. What do you mean by twist of fate? Your meeting with Neo, do you really think it was a coincidence that you found a 1 in 10 million talent just like that, in an ordinary orphanage? Rex quickly stood up, which caused his chair to tip over. What? What's that supposed to mean? Do you recall Hikes? The police officer who discovered you in the dark alley and escorted you to the orphanage. Yeah? What are you trying to say? What am I trying to say? Ha, alright, let's get straight to the point. Everything. Everything you have done and will do. What you have experienced and will experience in your life. What you love and will love. What you hate and will hate. Your past and future. Your deepest thoughts. Even your preference in women. All of it, I have already seen. You? What do you mean? What are you saying? Rex's face formed an angry expression. Everything you've been through so far, everything is going according to my observation of a perfect world. What? What do you mean by a perfect world? Aziel stood up. I planned everything. Everything you accomplished or made, even your meeting with Neo. No. Prove it, the two said, simultaneously. Rex took a few steps back. You probably can only read my mind or something. Read minds? Aziel grinned. No, I don't need that, I have something much better. Okay, then prove that everything I did was planned. Remember when Naiki was commenting your fight against that snake bastard in Heaven's Arena? Rex nodded. I ordered him to watch your fight. To get him a little excited when he would be facing you, that he wouldn't hold back. He saw your immense potential. I explained your Hatsu to him. He was excited to face a formidable opponent, but was disappointed. And also I was the one who told him that you had 2 Ben's knives. That is why, right before your fight, he prepared a tiny antidote for himself. Do you really think he had a natural immunity to that very strong poison like he claimed? Rex was pale. I sent Sanbiket to you when you woke up in your new body. Remember? When you were training in the cave, naked. Stop it. I had Naiki write this letter. Given that York knew was the designated meeting location, you purposefully avoided it and took the farthest place you could have ever looked for. Which was ideal since we managed to catch the thief. I gave you the choice for the place of our meeting because I foresaw that you would choose this bunker, a completely black room. You wanted it to be fair. If you fought me we would both be blind, wasn't it? Do you think it was a coincidence that this room was also the thief's escape route? Rex. Do you believe that your encounter with that weird Zolk's child was a coincidence? All that, and much more, but to list them all here now doesn't make much sense since the things I said should be sufficient enough. Aziel stood up. But don't worry, it was your willpower and strong moral compass that gave you the power to do all these things. Moral compass? Aziel turned around. I haven't seen anyone else kill such a murderous and dangerous drug lord out of free will, just for the good of humanity. And I've never seen anyone train as hard as you in the Heaven's Arena. I didn't order you to create so much effort and sweat. It was just you alone, who made you travel your adventure. And why did you make me suffer when you had Naiki ordered to fight me? It was vital. So that you may experience the real word, I let Naiki to trample you. Only after experiencing what it was like to be treated like trash by someone, could you face the world with your newly discovered ambition and lust for revenge. You hated the world, you didn't accept me, you rejected it. That's what Nen is actually about. It's to impose one's will and change the world according to one's will. And if I had let Neo attack you, instead of revenge and hatred, you would have felt sorrow and suffering, which is the farthest state of rejection. Rex was deep in contemplation as he connected all the threads in his head. This. Aziel turned and looked at Rex. My Hatsu is called Eye of Providence. It lets me see exactly one possible future that I desire. After that I see the complete timeline from the present to that future. For this is the reason why most of my followers call me the Almighty or the Great Almighty. Well, Eye of Providence also shows me the key moments I need to achieve for this future I desire. So that this future will turn into reality. He reached out a hand to Rex. And recruiting you was also a key moment for that future. I guess I'll have to play the spy and get some more info from this guy, he's definitely bluffing. Rex accepted his hand and somehow put on a fake smile. I suppose joining your group was already planned too, huh? Aziel laughed as they shook their arms. I guess you're a fast learner. Welcome to the group, Rex. Chapter 21. 12 years later. Somewhere on a snowy mountain range, where a fierce blizzard occurred, 2 soldiers kept guard outside a bunker steel entrance door. Although their thick leather snow camouflage suits, their face masks and helmets, warmed them up quite a bit, they still froze, which is why they stayed near 2 hanging lanterns. One of them was staring through the orange ski goggles his friend wore and looked him in eyes. Hey, when's shift change? I'm freezing my ass off here. How should I know? The other said, annoyed. We've only been here for like 20 minutes, you can wait a long time. The soldier in the blue-violet ski goggles, the immature one, stomped aggressively on the ground. We're on the biggest mountain range in the world. Do you really think some lunatic is just going to show up? Sai, you're the one who signed up here, you knew exactly what to expect, the soldier with the orange ski goggles said. Ashamed, The other soldier started drawing in the snow with the barrel of his gun. Cut the crap, what if those creepy guys in this facility see us? There are no cameras here, so relax. Besides, I've been doing that for the last couple of months. And like I said, there's no one coming or going. Boom. Something exploded a few meters in front of the soldiers. They covered their faces with their arms and weapons to protect themselves from the dust and snow. Then they aimed at the spot where the explosion came. Shit. What was that? Probably an attack, replied the soldier with the orange ski goggles, the more mature one. I'll send a signal. He retrieved a device from his pocket, but was distracted by his friend. He was screaming. A person? He yelled quite loudly as the fog cleared. Og, the soldier fell over. The now shocked soldier quickly pressed a few numbers into the device, but could not click on the call button. He had already fainted. The person who had handled the two soldiers at the entrance was none other than Rex. Now stronger than he had ever been. He took the device, shoved it in his mouth, and munched it. After that he spat it out on the ground, almost hitting one of these two soldiers. He went to one of those soldiers and took off his uniform. After putting it on himself, he put a large longish bag, which he took with him, down at the entrance. Then he forced his hands in the crack of the huge and thick bunker door, and forcefully pushed the two steel plates aside. A passageway revealed itself behind the thick bunker door. He dragged the two soldiers and set them down relatively close to the entrance of the bunker, but not too close in case they froze. So, that was all Aziel told me for this heist. Now I only have to follow my instincts. The hallway was painted white and blue and was overall very complex looking. It gave him the impression that this was a secret facility of the military complex which was testing new superweapons, similar to the nuclear bomb of the Manhattan Project, but instead of being on the surface of the Earth, it was deep inside a mountain. But this facility was only used for the research of a high-value artifact of the Dark Continent. Depending on the artifact, the fact that they might be making super weapons may be better for humanity. Nevertheless, after following his instinct at the intersections, choosing sometimes right and sometimes left and so on, he came upon a door at the end of a corridor. He opened it and glanced around. The researchers stopped talking and turned to gaze at their new visitor. They had just assembled around a huge round table and were discussing the documents but stopped. "What are you doing here?" one of them asked impatiently. Rex quickly thought of what to say. "We just ran a transmission of the beacon signal, but it didn't work. I'm looking for the facility supervisor right now. I already looked in his office, just too bad I couldn't find him." The researchers looked at each other uncertainly. "Go to room 42 RL, he often stays there. And make it quick. You're disturbing us." Rex bowed, walked through the room and exited it shortly after. He was completely calm and confident, no matter what he did, no matter what words came out of his mouth and no matter what accidents or misdeeds came. When you already know that the grand heist is going to be smooth, you can't help but be bored. Although he felt a great deal of nervousness during his first missions or heists, it faded with time. This was now the 5th mission he had done. Each one went perfectly, just as Aziel had already envisioned. Tap. Tap. After a long walk, he stopped in front of a large golden door, from which he senses a very magical energy. This is the entrance door, it must be in there. He slowly forced his hand through the thick special golden metal layer of the door, destroying the door's locking mechanism. That's always the best part of missions, the days when I infiltrate a facility. It's one of the worst days for the facility. Rex swung the door open and entered the room. Not because I'm breaking in, but because during that time, most non-users guarding these facilities are either misplaced or not present. And sometimes a third party starts a hacking attack, ultimately disabling the security systems for a short period of time. Tap. Tap. Rex approached the magical sensation he felt and arrived in front of many safes. He neared it until he was standing in front of the right safe, the one that contained the ancient artifact. A fist pierced the safe store, and from the resulting hole, Rex took out the magical gem. Good, now I just have to get out of here unharmed. Rex turned and faced the entrance door. Whoops, I thought my Zetsu was pretty good, but looks like I've been spotted. A man who was hiding next to the entrance was now taking steps into the room. He was dressed in the same snow camouflage uniform as the two soldiers guarding the entrance. But he took off his helmet, showing his face. He was a middle-aged man. Frown. Although it looked as if the man was walking loosely and relaxed through the room, he analyzed Rex closely, for weapons, his size and much more. Everything matches, even the light blue hair. You are the notorious Rex, aren't you? And if I am? Wonderful, said the man. All those months I've spent here, watching over this dull place have paid off. I knew you were looking for those boring artifacts. I'm very happy to meet you. You were waiting for me, why? The man started to laugh. Hee, seeing you with my own eyes is more than enough. You are a true legend in the Hunter Association. You're the only hunter who dared to challenge Netero to a duel, and survive. Sorry, I don't check the new hunters list every year. Are you a new hunter? The man spat on the floor. We've talked long enough, let's fight. Rex looked at the man blankly. Aziel hadn't warned me about a guy like that. Maybe he's Suddenly, through his super condensed 10, which was 1 meter, he found a needle flying at his thigh at top speed. After several years of training, his time reception has reached new heights. He perceived seconds as much longer than normal people would. This combined with his new super condensed 10, gave him divine reflexes. But the thought that nothing could go wrong made him want to let himself be hit. He was curious. And he let himself be hit. Hee, what's wrong with you? Where did your aura go? Oh, I know. Banished. Gone. Off. For the whole fight, the man said after seeing the shocked fake expression on Rex's face. Oh no. Just kidding, I don't need none to defeat you. The man smiled. Just kidding? Are these your last words before your certain death, B-rank bounty? Oh, so you're here for my bounty? I'll leave you a lesson then. Suddenly Rex stood behind the man. Even if you sealed my nen or Hatsu. The man immediately turned around and was about to punch Rex, but his fist went through thin air. Where is he? You and I are on a completely different level. It's just laughable that you ever thought you stood a chance against me. The man took another swing, but hit the air again. Rex was gone once more. He panicked and looked around for Rex, but found nothing, and just then Rex fell from the ceiling right on top of the man. His knee landed deep and hard in the man's face, knocking him unconscious. As Rex reached the floor, he felt his nen flowing into him again. It's stupid to have such conditions for a Hatsu. Saying your conditions? Are you stupid? Even if you hid it behind sentences, do you really think I wouldn't notice? Rex looked at the fallen nen user. Oh well, Aziel said I wasn't allowed to seriously injure anyone, lucky you. Whatever. I've generated a lot of noise needlessly. I need to go now. In front of the same entrance of the facility, in the outside world, Rex did a few stretching exercises before kneeling in front of his bag and opening it. From it he got himself strange-looking shoes which he put on immediately. After that, 2 rounded wooden plates came out, which he had attached to his strange shoes. Yes. Rex wanted to go skiing, in the biggest mountain range in the world. In the middle of a blizzard storm. And it's his first time skiing ever. Haha, I always wanted to do that in my previous life. With joy, he slowly glided through the snow until he reached a deep cliff. Now the real adventure starts. Zack. Zack. After his little adventure, he stuck his skis in the deep snow, sat on a tree stump and turned on his cell phone. Beep. A new message reached him. He smiled. Aziel transferred 750,000,000.00 Jenny to your account. In those 12 years he went through with Aziel and his group, he was able to flourish to perfection, hit never before reached strengths, and accumulate more money than he could possibly ever spend in hundreds of lifetimes. All of this, he could never have achieved on his own. Chapter 22. Tack 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 tack. Rex, still sitting on the tree stump, stared at the approaching helicopter. Oh, it's finally here. He stood up, waved, making the helicopter come closer and closer to him. When it almost reached the ground, it hurled tons of snow at Rex, but he didn't mind it. After landing, he entered the helicopter and was greeted right away by one familiar face. Oh, that mission was quicker than I expected, Rex. Rex wiped the snow off his leather jacket. Yes, I even had enough time to go skiing, Naiki. The familiar figure was Naiki. Somehow, for some reason he had to stop his mission in the middle of it and was now dressed chaotically. He wore a white linen shirt with a pitch-black vest over it, his pants were also pitch-black, but his gloves carried an elegant white tone. In fact, he dressed like a waiter, but this time he wore a thick brown jacket and pants, coupled with a fat beanie that kept his ears nice and warm. "Shit ass, you can just call me master," he said. "But it would have been nice if you hadn't wiped the snow off in the helicopter." Rex waved his hand. "It's no big deal, besides, where are we going now?" "We're going to..." Beep. Rex's cell phone vibrated. "I think Aziel will explain it." Rex pressed the accept button and put the phone next to his ear. "What is it?" "Oh, you will be flown to the nearest city, there you will hand over the gem to Sanbika. She will eradicate it as already done with the other artifacts." "And why the call? I would have done that anyway." "There is a new important mission. You have to retrieve an important thing from the Dark Continent. For that you have about 1 year to recruit 2 companions. You will become the leader of this group." "Ha ha ha, in a year's time? Don't you think that's a bit much?" "You will understand when you go through the mission." "Will this mission be more difficult than this one?" "It's not to compare. Our opponent is the son of Netero, Beyond Netero." Rex's eyes were wide open. "Beyond? Beyond is a very dangerous man. Shouldn't we talk with Netero about this first?" "Netero doesn't want to deal with Beyond. He said it wasn't his business. Nevertheless, Beyond is planning an expedition to the Dark Continent, and it looks like this artifact should help him." "Can't I take Neo and my team?" "I'm sorry, but no one from our organizations. Everyone is busy, or will be busy." 1 year for me to recruit 2 complete strangers? Surely you have acquaintances outside the organizations. However, as always, I thank you very much for your service, and goodbye, Raul. The call ended. Rex squeezed the gem strongly with his hand and looked out the window of the helicopter. Raul. How come he knows Raul but not Hunter X Hunter? He closed his eyes. Vertical bar 12 years earlier vertical bar. Rex and Aziel were still sitting at the table in the bunker. Their dialogue continued, and after a long time, Rex asked him a very important question. "If you can see the future, then you already know the things I'm going to say. That means you know some of my secrets, if not all. What do you know about me?" "I know many things about you, most of them are useless, but the most important is your real name, Raul." Raul, Rex muttered to himself. It was his old name from his previous life, but his name was not as important as the fact that this was an information from his previous life. If he could transfer information from his old life to this world, what did he know? He felt fear. What? What do you know about Hunter? Hunter X Hunter? Aziel looked at him confused. What? I didn't hear you. Hunter X Hunter. What do you know about that? Aziel had a confused look on his face. What do I know about what? Can't he hear me? Thought Rex. What do you know about reincarnation or whatever that was? Aziel thought for a little moment. Are you talking about your Hatsu? Is he just acting? Is he doing this to appear more trustworthy, or is this the truth? He made a mental note from this information. Rex shook his head. Forget it. After a very long ride, the helicopter finally landed on a skyscraper. Naiki together with Rex climbed and shortly after Rex looked at the beautiful night sky. This marvelous night sky. How have I been able to endure those years without sight? Well, it's been a long time. Suddenly, a door opened, and since it was very jammed, it created an unbearable noise that interrupted Rex's euphoric perceptions. Out of the door came a small woman. She wore a black t-shirt which contained a skull, however a white leather jacket covered most of it. She looked quite young, and pretty, and was only 1 year older than Rex. "Hey Rex, come on already. I hate to wait." It was Sanbika. Rex walked over to him and handed him the ancient gem. Blood-red flames manifested on Sin's hand, which then virtually erased the crystal from this world forever. "Your reverse Hatsu always fascinates me to no end," Rex said. Yeah, thanks for that compliment, but aren't you scared about your B rank bounty? We can talk to the V5 and they might just resolve it. Don't you think that's a bit counterproductive? I mean, after all, you didn't do anything inhumane to get a bounty," Sanbika said. Edward put his hand on Rex's shoulder. "It's really bad what some people inflict on you, Rex, but bear with it." "And Sanbika, I'm against it too, but since boss meant it, it should be like that, you know?" "Oh, I'm just saying," Sanbika opined. "Rex, why?" Just as he was about to continue talking to Rex, the latter one just walked to the edge of the roof, sat down and looked over the city. "B rank bounty. That's just 1 rank below A rank, which the Phantom Troop had." "Why? Corrupt politicians." He closed his eyes again. "I wish for a better world. I wish for people to be treated more fairly. I wish for the world to be freed from the interests of the already wealthy. I am happy that I can achieve something like this. I am happy that I was reborn into this Hunter x Hunter world. I am happy that I have the power to do this, change things. And I am happy that my services have fulfilled this for the most part." Rex took out his phone and typed a few numbers. "Lobbyism. That's the name the wealthy countries use to end bribery. But in the end, both, although there are differences, are practically the same. In both cases, large corporations can buy their interests in politics, which can occur in most cases in unfavorable laws, which gives those corporations unbelievable wealth, but makes the people suffer. But if you want to fight it, you'll make so many enemies." Rex looked at his cell phone. "But I am not a nobody. I am a 2-star hunter now. And most importantly, I have a good relationship with the V5. The fact that there is a human out there who can seek out nasty artifacts from the Dark Continent, and then try to eliminate them with his followers, goes down pretty well with those nations, which is why they try to protect and support us, even though most of the corrupt politicians are against my actions." Beep. Finally he accepted. Rex placed the cell phone next to his right ear. "How's it going?" Illumi. Chapter 23. "And you want me to help you with this heist?" "Yes." There was a long pause as Illumi answered again. "So, let me get this straight. After I never saw you again for 14 years because I saw you die in the Heavens Arena, you show up and ask an assassin to help with a theft?" "Yes, but I didn't actually die. It was more that the person who fought the snake guy wasn't actually me, but rather a Nen doll that looked exactly like me, controlled by a Nen user I paid. I knew I couldn't win that fight, so I ran away with the money real quick. You think I'm going to believe that? Nen works wonders, I've told you several times. Anyways, I've registered your coordinates and your voice. I'll be with you soon and see it for myself. Go alone to the north of the city, at the very edge. We will see each other soon, and I better see you alone. If you break any of these rules, you will feel consequences, and if you are an imitator, you will feel consequences. Okay, bye-bye." Rex hung up and opened a second app. He was amazed when he saw the considerable amount of money, but that was not why he opened the application. He entered a contact number and "You transferred 100,000,000.00 Jenny to." Rex looked behind him with paranoia to see if people were still there, even though he knew they had all left on the helicopter a few minutes ago. Haha. Sorry. He took out a red gem from his pocket and held it in front of the sun, so that it caused the sun to look red. Ah. This is the second time. Never mind, it's for all our best. The magical energy that was in the crystal began to flow into Rex's hand, spreading throughout his body. In a process that took hours, the intense red of the gem began to fade until the crystal turned completely white. But strangely, in the end, nothing changed about him. He stood up. I should probably get going. In a park, on a bench, next to a water fountain, Rex comfortably read a newspaper. Hours have passed by now, so that at this very moment he could enjoy a beautiful sunrise. Suddenly his sixth sense gave a warning signal. A person was watching him. Oh, is he finally here? But his thoughts were quickly interrupted by a high-velocity projectile. He quickly leaned to the right to dodge. Boom! With a loud noise, the projectile destroyed a wooden plank of the bench. When he turned around, he saw that it was large, round-head needle. The people around looked at him in puzzlement. What was that explosion? I'd better go. Was that a gunshot? But Rex didn't let the chatter from the people break his concentration. His eyes were focused on the man atop the skyscraper. 3 more needles were shot at him, but he dodged each of them, and the last one he even caught with his index and middle finger. Rex stood up from the bench. Jump off the skyscraper and stand in front of me like a man. As of this moment, almost all the people had already fled from the park, and the person was also finally standing in front of him. You already know I'm Rex, so why are you shooting at me? Yes, the only reason Rex Millions paid Jenny for Illumi's phone number was so that the Zoldyck family, one of the butlers, or most likely Illumi himself, could give his recorded voice to an end user and check it for legitimacy. Thus he would have, in principle, without large difficulties, a good partner for his mission ready. But this was not quite true. Illumi is now standing in front of him, his pupils large, and the ends of his hair as sharp as poisonous needles. I just need to check if you are worthy. And this set of needles was the test. Rex was a bit puzzled at Illumi's approach. Wrong. Suddenly, 2 needles were stuck in his head, each above his ears. From the anime experience, he braced himself for his face to change to the ugly one, but that didn't happen. Instead, he felt Illumi's sinister purple aura strengthen. And this apparently had no end. 3. 4. 5. More and more needles were stuck in his head, and with each needle, his aura strengthened. That's already 7. What's the limit? Did I accidentally make Illumi too strong? Suddenly, he stopped. 1.5 years. That's how long it took me to conquer the arena, and that's how long you taught me Nen. When I came out of the arena, I trained until I almost dropped dead, just to catch up with you. In that time I achieved my Hatsu, but exactly 1 year after I left, I saw your fight against Snake Monarch. I saw you die. I saw how my naivety just let me down. At first I wanted to rebel against the job of assassination, like you told me thousands of times, but when I saw you fall, I came to a realization. No matter what I do, everything ends with me standing next to a corpse. And then suddenly you returned. Why didn't you tell me? Your escape from the Heavens Arena. Rex didn't really know how to explain his situation to Illumi. You know. Didn't we promise each other to be much stronger the next time we meet, right? You were dead. What if I am dead? Everyone dies once. And besides, I'm standing here in front of you now, alive. And you couldn't have told me? No one knows when they are going to die, no one can forewarn their friends of their death. And, when my time will come and I die, don't go straight back on the track of your old self, as if my life never had any meaning. Go on doing the thing that you think is correct for everyone. Because I know you're changeable, because I know you once went from a cold-blooded assassin to my best buddy. That's exactly why I invited you on my team. Illumi thought a bit. I decline. Robberies are not for assassins. With his N activated, Illumi turned and slowly walked away. Rex took a deep breath. Okay. If you want it that way, your mission will be to kill Beyond Netero, and for that I have to train you for 1 year. Killing is not for you, Rex. He's dangerous, he's endangering the lives of millions of people. So what? Why should I listen to you? Illumi kept walking away, getting Rex a bit frustrated. You know. I'll transfer you billions, Jenny. Illumi's footsteps didn't stop. I had no choice, the non-user who controlled the doll made me say nothing. Suddenly, Illumi turned around. Rex. I hope you know that I can't stand liars, and I, as a trained assassin, can reveal you as a liar relatively easily. I'm impressed that you can suppress most of your physical reactions like that, but I, as a first-class assassin, can see the very little details. Slowly, Rex lost his mind. Well, tell me what you want me to do, so you can join my team. I'll do anything, no matter what it is. Illumi didn't want any more business with Rex. He felt a tiny bit annoyed, and walked away again. TSK, die then. But he didn't really think Rex would take it that seriously. He looked right behind him as he saw blood staining his shoes. Rex? Rex was dead. 1. Chapter 24. In a bunker, thousands of meters below the Earth's surface, there was a sudden explosion. At the same moment that Rex regained his subconscious and opened his eyes, thousands of tons of earth and rock came out of the ceiling and covered his vision. But this did not make him panic. He put a massive can around himself, tensed his muscles as much as he could, and protected his head with his arms. He did all this while the falling earth filled the bunker. And it wasn't long before the whole bunker was filled with soil. Rex had to act quickly. This bunker was built via non-teleportation. There are no tunnels, only a single room very deep in the earth. He rolled the earth away from him and tried to basically swim through the earth. His goal was the earth's surface. If he did not succeed, he would die alone in the ground due to a lack of oxygen. And so he tried to swim through the earth. Just moving around in the earth would be impossible for a human. In fact, it is so impossible that before you could take a breath, you would probably be compressed by the pressure into a small lump of flesh. But this is not the real world. This is the world of the hunter. 0'03 minutes, seconds. With a top speed of several meters per second, he managed to climb hundreds of meters after only a minute. 02'25. Rex felt like a mole. He adapted perfectly to the technique. 03'32. After holding his breath for minutes, he had the fear of digging in the wrong direction. Am I digging in the right direction? But he quickly wiped away these thoughts. The thermal difference answered his worry. 04'56. Although it was a minimal difference in sensation, he felt the earth and rock soften. I am near. 5 minutes 31 seconds. Near? There must be something wrong with that. Boom. Suddenly Rex came shooting out of the ground, like a dolphin. In the air, he quickly took a deep breath in and out before finally landing on the top of a tree. To cause an explosion. I didn't know that this gem could transmit such a great power to me. Never mind, I could have held my breath twice as long anyways. Rex looked around for a moment. He was in a forest. A huge forest, in fact. So huge that there was no civilization in sight for miles. Standing on the top of the tree, he wiped away all the dirt, and checked if he had his second cell phone in his pocket. Phew. Rex thought about his next moves, but he felt lame and lazy even though he just got that massive power boost. He hopped to the ground and sat against a tree. While his eyelids closed and covered his vision, his ears picked up the heavenly chirping of the birds. Aziel. He thought about his past. Haha, you psychopath, why did you have to greet me with a sword? His first face-to-face meeting with Naiki was crystal clear, playing through in his mind. Even though it made him experience a small portion of regret, he was still tied up in the past. I was such a stupid guy. When I woke up in my new spare body after my death in the Sky Arena, I thought I was immortal. I thought I could do anything. I felt happiness at the thought that my Hatsu had really worked. I loved the feeling of being powerful. And I didn't think much when I received the note from Sanbika. Of course I checked if she had any evil intentions against me. But none was present. I went to the hunter exam. It was my goal eventually to pass the hunter exam anyway. and another one was to get information about the boss Sanbika was talking about. I was lucky that Netero was present. I could talk to him about the boss. I was promised that Aziel was a good man. Of course I accepted this statement directly under the assumption that Netero is an enhancer, people who were known for their brutal honesty. Seeing that there was no danger, I naturally let myself be led to the next coordinate. Why shouldn't I? I knew everything. I knew that they didn't want anything bad from me. But from there on it was all downhill. Suddenly I had to realize that Netero might be a liar. Suddenly I had to realize that the weak Sanbika might not be as innocent as she looks. Suddenly I had to understand that my life was at stake. After my encounter with Naiki and this realization that I could die, I went directly out of the way and hoped to avoid the organization, never to meet them again. I hired non-users to help me with the information search about the organization and much more, but apparently the organization was one step ahead of me. I first met Neo. And then the boss. I learned a lot from him. I shook his hand and smiled at him. But I never had the intention to work with him. I didn't want to believe that someone who had heard me, accepted me now, with happy and open arms. It was suspicious. After all, there are millions of people. So why does he need me for the missions? Does he want to manipulate me? Why would he use me? Why would he hunt those dark continent-related objects? Does he really care about the people that suffered because of those objects? I always had one eye open. Every time he spoke, I had listened to him, no matter how quietly he talked. Every time he stared at someone, I stared at the same person. Every time he went somewhere, I tried to follow him. I talked to all the members of the organization about the boss. I even talked to Neo few times about it. And I tried not to make it too obvious. Between each talk, months have passed. I analyzed every action carefully. And year by year I got more and more details about his Hatsu. Year after year, my worst fears have been avoided piece by piece. Ha ha ha. I came to a new realization. Aziel is just the way he is. I wasted my time spying on him. The fact that he didn't do anything suspicious for over a decade could perhaps be explained by the fact that he was a god at acting. But also the objects from the Dark Continent. They weren't absorbed nor used by him. Everything went directly to Sin, where it was burned. And besides, his left eye already proves it. Rex opened his eyes. Huh? Did I fall asleep? He noticed that he had been activating Ren the whole time he was sleeping. Oh. This gem really gave me a lot of aura. And through my spare body it was multiplied by 5. Nice. After standing up, he exhaled loudly. I bet the only reason Aziel had egged Naiki on me, was so that I would finally get out of this mentality that the world belongs to me, that no one can do anything against or to me, that I was invincible. He hauled out his cell phone from his pocket and looked at the time. 3 days. Apparently my body needed some more time to absorb the gem. Well, Ren saved me from those disgusting and nasty insects on the soil, so what's there to complain about? I should meet Illumi as soon as possible. Chapter 25. Following a trail across every bush, Rex encountered swamps, dangerous predators and many exotic plant species. Just now he was standing in front of 2 shrubs and remembered an old survival book he once read. One bush contained orange berries, the other blue. If it's blue, chew. If it's orange, then, darn, what comes after orange? As he was still pondering, a person suddenly appeared behind him. The orange kind is called hard stewberry. Go ahead and enjoy eating it, it's not poisonous in the slightest. The blue kind, on the other hand, will cripple your brain after a week, it's called sour snakeberry. Rex turned around in annoyance then said sarcastically, "Thank you for your knowledge, Mr. Biologist." The person had an amused look on his face with a slight grin. "Haha, you don't have to thank me, but my name is Yajo Rao, are there many things you forget?" Yajo Rao was the last member of the small organization to fulfill it. His Hatsu God's mark can mark any solid object with an Ouroboros-like tag. To do this, he must touch the object with his hand. With the mark he can then teleport a few meters near the objects and it doesn't matter how far away they are. He was responsible for the transportation in their organization, most of the time. Rex picked one of the orange berries, threw it in the air and then caught it with his mouth. You left me alone in this jungle for a week. I was starting to worry that you had actually forgotten about me. What the? I'm right here, no need to panic. I'm not panicking. Oh, just take us to your next marker. Why do you always have to be so loud? Did your creator program you that way? Rex ignored his jabbering. Amazing, I didn't know anyone else besides Naiki could be so fucking annoying. Yajo put his hand on Rex's shoulder and in a flash the two disappeared from their spot. The only thing left were their footprints on the muddy ground. After a few more complications and days, Illumi and Rex faced each other again. I didn't expect you to be alive, just like after Heaven's Arena. How did you do that? Was that your Hatsu? Rex scratched the back of his head. Ha ha ha, we all have secrets. Suddenly, his expression became serious. Anyways, I promised to do everything I could to get you in my group. So what about it? I didn't expect you to actually kill yourself. Which sounds weird. Rex shrugged. Well, I guess that's what happens when you don't take words seriously. So, are you joining me or not? Illumi stared at the ground, thinking. If I have to, but not until I get more detailed information about everything there is. Yeah, information, I can give them to you afterwards. And what about the second member? His gaze drilled deep into Rex's eyes, but when Rex confidentially said that he already knew who the second member would be, which he determined to be no lie, he decided to join him officially. And what is this guy's name? Asked Illumi. Rex took out a card from his pocket and unfolded it. He pointed his finger at the map. This place is Luxo Province, that's where we'll meet him. But Illumi just looked at him slightly angry. Rex had ignored him, a bad habit that Rex always had. Having arrived in the province after days of flight on a zeppelin, they left the human-inhabited regions and walked through a pebble-made path into a forest. This person lives in the woods? Illumi wondered. And your family lives on the mountains, which they own, Rex thought. Illumi kept thinking and supported his chin with his hand. Oh, I see what you mean. The Luxo province is the place where the infamous K. Illumi was forced to stop his sentence. A dagger flew at top speed, missing Rex's face by only an inch and landing deep in a tree trunk. Illumi pulled the dagger out of the tree and read the message attached to it. This is not your place. Get out. Rex, I think your colleague's family doesn't like us very much. Illumi looked at the figure crouching on the tree branch, who had thrown the dagger. Shortly after, he threw the dagger at that person, but Rex caught the blade mid-flight with his hands. We're not trying to start a fight here. And what's your plan? Oh, you know. Another dagger came flying, this time aimed at Rex's head, but Illumi easily caught it. It doesn't look like they're too happy about your arrival, does it? Are you sure this is a buddy of yours? Illumi, I'm glad to hear of your enthusiasm, but please mimic me for a moment. Rex carefully placed the dagger on the ground and stretched his hands in the air. We're not here to pick a fight. Please take us to your clan elder. The man didn't quite know what to do and looked at a figure behind him. After a few seconds of talking, the two figures settled down and jumped from the large branches of the tree to the ground. Then they unlocked two handcuffs and one of them spoke. If you want to visit us, we have to seal your nen, agreed? Illumi stared at Rex, annoyed, and whispered to him softly. Are you absolutely sure this isn't a trap? Yes, Rex whispered. As Illumi analyzed that there was no insecurity in the movement of Rex's muscles or speech, he decided to give in. Decide now or leave. Yeah, do what you want. Chapter 26. Approximately 5 years ago. I have never seen the outside world. That's because stepping out of the forest is the greatest sin of all. I don't know what kind of punishment you get for breaking the law. Because nobody's ever broken it. Just now, the boy saw his best friend, Pyro. He quickly ran to him and sat down next to him on a rock. "The village elder has rejected you again, hasn't he? Maybe it's time to give up," said Pyro, but the boy refused to let his will be broken, stood up and threw stones across the river. "Not a chance. I'll get to the outside world. 100%. And I know you want to go too." Pyro struggled to stand up. Yeah, but my eyes and legs aren't as good as the others." "It doesn't matter," the boy said, crossing his arms. "And I don't want my family to get hurt, Pyro," he added. "Ah, that's right, why do they even have that rule? They don't take children seriously. We can't even take the test to go out until we're adults. They don't even teach us the language. It's always a no, no, no." Pyro stared at the boy, whereupon the latter replied with a puzzled face. "What? Your eyes are red." "Of course, I'm angry." Pyro looked pitifully at the boy. "They say people in the outside world are different." The boy looked at him questioningly, wanting Pyro to keep talking. "Kurapika, the Kurtaklan are the only people whose eyes turn red when they are emotional." Picture of Pyro and Kurapika, greater than 5. "Really?" asked Kurapika. "Yeah," said Pyro. "I asked my father." Pyro leaned back a little and dripped eye drops into his eyes. "I also asked him why we had this rule. He told me I wasn't ready for the truth, but then told me anyway." "And what is it?" Pyro looked grim. "People from the outside world discriminate and bully people who are different from them." But before he could say his last word, Kurapika was gone. 128 Kurt in a beautiful, rich forest. That was the only world I knew. Until I with Pyro spotted an injured man knocking on death's door. "Quick Pyro! His legs are completely slashed," shouted Kurapika as he pushed the bushes away from his body. Every blade of grass was splattered with blood. The person had hundreds of stab wounds and cuts. When the two saw all the blood, they both panicked. Kurapika held his finger under the person's nose. "Pyro, this person is still breathing, please go to the village and get help." Pyro looked at Kurapika with concern. "Okay." Dozens of Kurtas gathered around him. They looked at the person with concern and pity, the parents covering the curious eyes of their children. The village doctor examined his body for hidden cuts, most of which had already been treated and covered with a special leaf. The village clan elder, a small man, patted the doctor's shoulder. "Does it make sense to treat him at all? Even an elephant could not survive with these wounds." Picture of the Kurtaklan elder, greater than. "Yes, but..." Just as the doctor was about to protest, the person suddenly started coughing. Cough. With all his strength, the person pushed himself up until he was sitting. He looked at the eyes of the people around him. While most people were filled with hope, the doctor asked for the person to lie down again. But instead of doing that, confusing words came out of the man's mouth. The person did not hear. No, he could not understand what the doctor said. Kurtas are only raised with their native language, other languages are not allowed to be taught, only the elders could understand the language of the outside world. "Bag?" the village clan elder asked as he translated the man's words. The man nodded and pointed to his bag, which was hanging on one of the high branches of a huge tree. Kurapika quickly went to fetch it as the village clan elder ordered and held out the bag to the bleeding man. The man said something again, which the village clan elder immediately translated. "Kurapika, open the bag, look for a purple leaf." When Kurapika did so, he found countless of daggers that were well packed, with two looking particularly strange. He took out all the items until only one purple leaf was visible, which he then gave to the man. The man divided the leaf and ate half of it. What happened next, the Kurtas could only consider a miracle of God. Suddenly, his skin began to steam. Strangely enough, the oodles of stab wounds began to heal. That can't be," the doctor said as he fell backwards in horror. The Kurtas were all over it, some holding their hands in front of their mouths, others even getting so emotional that their eyes turned red. Is that a person from the outside world? One child asked curiously. What is this magic? Screamed a woman. There was a huge turmoil, which only increased the numbers Kurtas watching. Calm down, said the Kurta clan elder loudly, pointing at the person. I believe this person can answer all our questions. The person stood up and wiped away all the blood on his arms and chest. Thank you, he said. Without you, I would be 6 feet under. The village clan elder shook his head. Oh, don't worry about it, sing us your name instead. He looked astonished. Ha ha ha, my name? Is that the first thing you people ask here? Not why I was almost dying here? The man laughed, which made the village clan elder a little bit perplexed and angry. Arg. Always the youth of today. As soon as you try to help others, they laugh at you. Most of the Kurtas looked at the two, confused. Why is that man laughing? Do you know what the village clan elder said? No, that was all in the language of the outside world people. Rex, the man wiped away tears of joy and pointed to himself. You can call me that, but I prefer the name Aizen. Oh fuck, Rex thought to himself as he randomly picked a name from his memory. Ah, can't change it now, I guess. Chapter 27. In a cage far away from the Kurta village, in the middle of the forest, Rex, who was sitting on the ground, looked at the clan elder. His arms were bound by a specialized rope, made of a rare plant found only in the Kurta forest. What are you here for? The elder asked. Rex bit his lower lip. Well, you know, I didn't want to be here. The village elder looked at him grimly. What's that supposed to mean, Aizen? Well, I escaped here so I could get away from the phantom troop. The village elder's eyes were wide open. The phantom troop? That can't be. Oh, he swallowed the lie? Rex mused. Yes. And I thank you again so much for saving me. But what? How long are you going to keep me here? The village elder looked at him, annoyed. You can go. When you've answered all the questions. Sigh. You know, village elder, I'm tired of your interrogation. I only asked one question. And that's why, let's get straight to the point. Rex's eyes were fixed on the village elder like a hunter on his prey. The village elder had a strange look on his face. To the point? What do you mean? A loud noise numbed his ears. The specially made ropes attached around Rex's hands and feet were destroyed. What the? Mr. Village Elder, suddenly Rex stood up. He slowly walked closer to him. He grabbed 2 enormously thick metal bars with his hands and bent them, then he stepped out. Rex stood right in front of him, but had to look down because of the big height difference. Do you know how I did that? The old man took a few steps back. What? You? How do you do that? Already with that pink blossom? No, go back in the cell. Although the old Kurta was beaming with courage earlier, he currently felt a cold shimmer through his bones. Rex let a teeny bit of his aura flow next to him. Nen, said Rex. Nen? Rex mused aloud. How about I teach your whole clan how to defend themselves? What do you mean by defend? Our Kurta warriors are the most powerful of all the nearby villages. Oh? Are you sure about that? I've heard that Kurtas are captured for their eyes in the outside world. First they get killed, then their eyes get sold. So, those are just rumors. Anyways, Rex pointed his index finger at his tree. The village elder looked at the tree but could not see anything. What's with this monkey zoo? But Rex walked closer and closer to the tree, until his fingertip touched the tree trunk and boom. The Kurta flinched in shock, landing on his butt against the ground. How? When he looked at the tree, he saw a huge hole that went through the trunk, but Rex's posture was still the exact same. You see, this hole. It didn't come into existence because I made a fist punch in a fraction of a second. No, it emerged because it touched my fingertip. I can teach you this power, think of it as thanks for saving me, a small tribute to the Kurta clan. After a few seconds, the hole had now become such a big load that the tree fell down in the direction of the village elder. But Rex simply blocked the log with his elbow and let it drop next to him. "Are you still against it? Let me teach your village Nen. Good deal, right?" asked Rex. "I don't know. Why were you almost dead on the ground if you possessed this enormous power?" "Well, Mr. Niccolo," a man shouted from a distance. Two Curtas with a spear and a sword ran as fast as they could towards Rex and the village elder, Niccolo. "We heard two loud explosions from this direction," one of them said. The other took his sword out of its sheath and pointed it at Rex. "I told you, Mr. Niccolo, why did you want to interrogate him alone? He is dangerous. He's an outsider." But Niccolo ignored them. He pondered for a moment. "How can it be that a human so strong wants to help us? There must be something fishy going on. But why going through all those time-consuming things like convincing me? If he wants something from us, he could just take it from us." "Don't worry about the ruckus, fellas," Niccolo said, daring a glance at Rex. "I believe that Mr. Eisen will teach us a few new things, but I need to talk to him for a moment, so get out of here. And if I'm not in the village after a few minutes, do something. Understood?" Niccolo gave them 3 winks. "We understand," the two Curtas yelled and quickly ran to the village. Niccolo looked into Rex's eyes. "Eisen, we need to talk." Rex nodded. The Curtas were all worried. There was a rumor going around the village. Apparently the outsider had taken the village elder hostage. On the outskirts of the village stood the few Curtas who were fit to fight, including the 2 who had delivered the village elder's warning. All were ready, sharpening their spears, honing their swords, and whatever archers do to prepare. And suddenly, "I see someone," shouted a woman, who was on guard, atop of a tree. Glances were focused on the forest's outskirts. It was already dark, a normal person could not see anything, but the Curta. They were different. "Shush!" Bushes gave a rustling sound and head popped out. It was Rex. The bows were all tensed, the archers tightened their bows and waited for Rex to get into their firing range. "Don't shoot!" Suddenly Niccolo ran out of the dark and stretched his arms to his sides. He passed the test. The guards let out a sigh of relief and dropped their weapon. "Welcome back, village elder," said all the Curta guards simultaneously as Rex and Niccolo walked in through the entrance. Rex looked at the village elder. "To test me? It takes a heart of courage to do that." Niccolo smirked and waved it off. Rex pinched his cheek and waved at everyone. "Kurapika. Kurapika. I wonder whether everyone had as much potential as you." And with that thought, Rex's, no, Eisen's training of the Curtas began. Chapter 28. Right now, many Curtas gathered around Rex, who was in the middle of a training ground, teaching them his decade-long mastery of knifemanship. The training ground was very old and shaped like a middle-sized square. It was on the edge of the village. The ground consisted of a few bricks, from which grass and flowers grew out of every slit. Right, thrust, side slash, left slash. Got it? Rex looked at the enthusiastic faces of the Curtas who were sitting on the benches, surrounding the training ground. They all nodded, but only one raised his hand. It was Kurapika. "Mr. Eisen, so far we have only watched them. Could we do these exercises ourselves?" "Before we get to that part, I want you all to know the basic movements. However, Kurapika, I can see that you are just about to burst from excitement. So I'll make an exception." Rex pointed to his bag. Full of joy, Kurapika jumped into the air and grabbed a box from Rex's bag. He opened it and, "That's a lot of blades." Rex threw his dagger on the ground, walked towards Kurapika and squatted next to him. "See that funny-looking blade with 2 points and square hollows?" "Yes." "Good, now take it and do the movements I demonstrated." Kurapika grabbed the blade and quickly ran to the center of the training area, but instead of Rex focusing on his student now, he walked away. "Pyro, gotta drink some water, make sure Kurapika doesn't do anything stupid." "Okay." In front of a still lake, Rex knelt down and looked at his face. From his bright blue hair and young face was nothing left. Instead, He now had long brown curved hair which was fillowed with a wrinkled face of a middle-aged man. Frown. This was not really his face. It was more like a Nen mask he wore days before his first encounter with the Curtis. Where did he get it from? It's been some time, Mr. Hunter Examiner, but thank you for making me a mask. Rex took a sip from the lake. That's right, it was the same Hunter who took off his face mask during the Hunter exam and warned Rex not to appear too open in this world. I hope you remember that guy. Tap. 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 One person slowly approached Rex from behind. Thank you for your service for the training. But doesn't a teacher have to be in the presence of his students? You know I trust you, but please don't worry me. Don't worry, Niccolo. And another thing, the other day at the test you provoked me, spat on my shoes, insulted me, my parents, and much worse. You were aiming to make me aggressive. You wanted to see my true stature. Didn't you? Ha ha ha. Provoked? A normal person would have probably beat me. They would have broken your bones, Rex added. Any normal person would have broken hundreds of your bones because of your provocative actions, had. But you didn't do that, Niccolo said. You didn't do that, you were calm and showed me tolerance. Only such people are trusted by the Kurta clan. You know, it's funny, only when you are on Regi, you speak from your soul. Your mind closes and emotions just pour out. Everything that's really inside you gets out through rage. Well, since you didn't rage, there would be no problem at all. After all, what changes if I had decided to take the other path? Mr. Niccolo. Why did you go so far for that? I didn't hurt you in the test, but if it was someone else, maybe someone evil, you would probably be laying dead somewhere in the woods. Huh. For a Kurta clan elder, this is the minimum. So go quickly and make sure my boys don't do anything bad. Rex grinned. All right. I promise you that the next generation of Kurtas will be the strongest ever. Meanwhile, about 1 hour has passed and Rex was sitting next to a few juvenile Kurtas on the bench. They were all watching Kurapika intensely, but Rex had taken it one step further. He just used Gyo on his eyes, which allowed him to see Kurapika's faint aura. Good. His aura pores are slowly opening. Without harm, without risk, perfect? With each swing, small amounts of aura pores in Kurapika's body were opened easily and softly. At this rate, he could awaken Nen in just 1 month, Rex mused as he gently rubbed his chin. Is something wrong, Mr. Eisen? Asked Kurta as he saw Rex's content face. Nothing. Just focus on Kurapika and visualize in your mind what it would look like if you were to wield the dagger, said Rex, who wanted to seem like a real mentor. Yes, sir, said the Kurta loudly, but Rex ignored him. His gaze was fixed on the dagger. Ben's knives are really something. Especially this one that gives you an army of Nen user. What's the name of the guy I borrowed it from in the Hunter exam again? Anyways, what matters now is that the training of the Kurtas continues. With that in mind, he called all the Kurtas to take a dagger from his bag each, and he told Kurapika to give his dagger to someone else. Toe-to-toe there were a total of 5 lines each with 5 people spread across the entire training ground. This time everyone had to swing a dagger. And after a certain amount time, the Ben's knife was handed over to another person who didn't had the privilege to wield this special dagger. Thanks to this training, time passed so quickly that the sun sank low enough to paint the sky orange. Full of sweat that seeped through their clothes, the Kurtas collapsed on the ground, their arms shaking so much from the constant swinging that they couldn't even carry a glass of water without losing half of the liquid. Even the younger ones like Kurapika and Pyro had this, even though because of their young age they trained much less intensively and experienced bigger breaks. An orange sky meant bedtime for their people, which is why the Kurtas took their belongings from the benches and gradually made their way back home. Stop. But then Rex stopped everyone. They looked nervously at him. Now that the first part of this daily training is finished, we can go to the second part. Chapter 29. Big and Juicy Chapter FR Enjoy. Rex opened his eyes, loosened his cross-legged seat and looked behind him. It was silent, 25 youths were meditating and subconsciously directing their aura to their bodies. Rex clapped 3 times strongly, which woke the Curtis from their trance. Confused, they looked at each other. It was deep night. What? Time has passed that quickly? Confusion spread among all the Curtis. Yes, said Rex. When meditating, it can often happen that time is perceived differently or even not at all. The Curtis were amazed, but Rex interrupted them. Unlike you, I don't need sleep, so hurry up, tomorrow we will do the same training. Everyone took their things and disappeared to their homes as quickly as possible, but 2 stayed behind. Mr. Ryzen, aren't you gonna sleep? Asked Kurapika. Nah, I already slept a few minutes before meditating, he casually replied. You were already sleeping? But I didn't see you napping at all. I was asleep for about 30 minutes while watching you practice on your own. 30 minutes? Is that all? Rex nodded. You know, this technique was taught to me by a long black-haired friend of mine. If you ever get strong too, I'll be sure to teach it to you. Amidst his admiration, Pyro pulled Kurapika's arm towards him. I'm sorry Kurapika is bothering you so much, Mr. Ryzen. Oh, don't worry about it, Rex said as he watched the 2 leave the training ground. With this, day 1 of AD passes. It wasn't explicitly mentioned in the manga, but I'm guessing a couple of months. I need to make the boys as strong as I can. The Phantom Troop is much stronger than other Nen users. I could kill one easily, I know all their hatches already. At 2 it will be a little bit more difficult. And against 3 members I'm definitely dead. I also have to watch out for Shanark. If I get his needle in my skin I'm totally in his control. And knowing his sadistic mind, he'll make me fight the Curtis too. Rex went into a cross-legged position and closed his eyes. Even if I train now, it doesn't do anything with this body. However, it is a good pastime. 1 month went by, like dusk to dawn. At the moment Rex looked at the tired faces of his students. You're training them too hard, said Niccolo, who was standing next to Rex. It's just morning. Their training hasn't even started and they can't even stand properly. Why don't you implement breaks? No. It's not the strength training causing this. It's because of Nen, Rex said, as he used Gyo to see vast amounts of aura flowing out of the Kurtas' bodies. Nen? For the 1000th time it's called Nen, with E. Anyways. Can I take them to the forest today or can you get the hell out of here for once? It's okay Aizen. But don't be too hard on them, understand? Yeah okay. Bye. After Niccolo left the training ground, Rex looked at his students. More and more aura is pouring out of their skin to the sky, but pretty much everyone has managed to form a small 10 layer around their bodies. After a bit of thinking, he gathered them all together. He decided that they were ready to discover the world of the Nen. A beautiful forest filled with tall trees that tower overhead, their leaves rustling softly in the gentle breeze. The forest floor is covered in a thick blanket of moss and ferns, and the air is filled with the sweet, earthy scent of pine and cedar. Sunlight filters down through the canopy, dappling the ground with golden light. The sounds of birds chirping and small animals scurrying about can be heard all around, adding to the peaceful atmosphere of the forest. A babbling brook and a clear, cold stream were running through the forest, adding the soothing sound of running water to the mix. Overall, a beautiful forest which is a magical and idyllic place, perfect for a peaceful hike or a relaxing picnic. But don't be fooled, right now the Kurtas were meditating intensely, seated in a comfortable position, with their backs straight and their feet firmly planted on the ground. They are taking slow, deep breaths in and out, using a technique thought by Rex to help them stay focused. Their eyes are closed, and they are deeply focused on their aura surrounding them, letting go of any distractions or thoughts that may arise. Their bodies are still and relaxed, and their minds are calm and peaceful. The atmosphere around them is serene and contemplative, and they may be experiencing a sense of deep inner calm and well-being. A month of meditation before showing them aura has had a very positive effect on their perception and progress. When I showed them the existence of aura, They didn't seem to be too surprised. Most of them even had an O effect, since some of them could already partially see aura, since the aura pores on their eyes were partially open. But it was a good decision to make them aware about the existence of aura. By doing so, I also gave them a clear goal in meditation. Although the number of opened aura spores is the same, they can now control their aura much better. I expected something like that, but not such a fast progress. Is this the talent of the Kurtas? If I remember my previous life, I think I heard that humanity comes from the Dark Continent, but the Kurtas have the biggest connection with the Dark Continent or the Lake Mobius, the lake that divides the human world with the terrifying continent. Is it true? I don't know, but it seems like it. Two children were walking through a beautiful forest, enjoying the sights and sounds of nature. As they walk, they come across a fallen tree blocking their path. The children look at each other, grinning, and then use their newly gained strength to lift the tree out of the way. They effortlessly lift the heavy tree and moved it to the side, clearing the path for them to continue their hike. As they walk, they come across other obstacles, such as rocks and logs, and they use their strength to move them out of the way as well. The children are clearly enjoying themselves, and they are proud of their abilities. They continue their hike, using their strength to make their journey through the forest smoother and easier. "You know what, Kurapika?" said Pyro. "This aura thing is just awesome. I feel like one of those superheroes my father used to tell me about." Kurapika nodded. "I know. It's so exciting. Imagine the two of us as a duo while we're fighting supervillains. That would be super cool. All this because of Mr. Aizen. Do you think he's a superhero himself?" "You silly," replied Pyro. "It's obvious he's a hunter." "A hunter?" Pyro looked at Kurapika again, disappointed, and explained it to him briefly. But Kurapika didn't seem to change his statement. People of high class who are apparently super strong, fast and mysterious. So that means that hunters are superheroes. "No," Pyro said. "Hunters tend to be more self-centered and look out for themselves. At least that's what my father told me." "But then what is Aizen teaching us this Nen for?" asked Kurapika. "I don't know. But if you want to be a superhero yourself, try harder with the training. Aizen has shown us the exist of aura 2 months ago and you seem to be in the half which hasn't opened all its aura pores yet." Kurapika became startled. You are right. What if Aizen goes to the outside world even before I have mastered aura?" Pyro slapped Kurapika on the back of the head. "Shut up, Aizen is not leaving. Did you forget that he promised Niccolo to teach us Nen completely?" "Ah. You're right. Then shouldn't it be better if I don't master aura at all?" Pyro looked at him shocked. "Ah. You can do that if you don't want to be a superhero." The past 12 months have passed quickly for Rex as he trains the Kurta clan. It feels like only yesterday that he began teaching them, and now, a year has already passed. Time flies, and it is important for the Kurta clan to make the most of every moment of training. During the past months, the clan has learned a lot and has become much stronger and more skilled under Rex's guidance. Rex is proud of their progress, and he is excited to continue training them and to see how much further they can go in the coming months, wanting to make the Kurta clan reach their full potential. But right now, Rex is perched on a tree branch in the Kurta forest, his sharp eyes focused on a girl lying on the forest floor below. The girl is injured, her clothes torn and her body covered in bruises. He watches her carefully, his mind racing as he assesses the situation. As a Hunter x Hunter manga reader, he knows that this girl is a trap, set by the Phantom Troop to gather informations out of the Kurta clan. He jumps off the branch and walks in front of the girl, Sheila. Pictures of Sheila, greater than 5. As Sheila lies on the ground, mortally wounded, she realizes that she has made a terrible mistake when she saw Rex. A Nen user? I thought this forest comprised only the Kurta clan. I have to warn Krallo. As Sheila laid on the ground, she desperately wanted to stand up and flee, but it was already too late. With a single, precise movement, Rex severs Sheila's head from her body, ending her life instantly. This deadly technique has been taught to Rex by Illumi, one of the most skilled assassins in the world. He picked up the beheaded head by the long hair. Sheila's head was still warm, and blood dripped from the neck onto the ground below. Rex's eyes were cold and hard, and he showed no emotion as he gazed at the head in his hand. Rex did not regret beheading Sheila. She was the cause of the Kurta massacre. He knew that she was a dangerous and ruthless killer, and he had no sympathy for her. As the Kurta's #1 mentor, it was his duty to protect the Kurta clan. Rex tapped his finger on a wooden board that he had taken with him, and suddenly, a person teleported next to him. He wasn't surprised when Yajo teleported next to him, he was already expected. Yajo looked around, only to see a dead body. Are you sure she was in the Phantom Troop? She looks pretty innocent. Don't worry about that, answered Rex. Rex attached a note to Sheila's head. He then handed the head over to Yajo, ordering him to teleport to Meteor City. Yajo nodded, understanding the significance of Rex's instructions. He knew that Meteor City was basically the headquarters of the Phantom Troop, and that delivering Sheila's head there would be an important step in bringing her killers to justice. Yajo accepted the head from Rex, and with a flash of light, he teleported away, disappearing from view. Rex watched him go, satisfied that he partially had completed his mission and that justice would be served soon. By beheading Sheila and delivering her head to Meteor City, Rex has essentially provoked a war between the Phantom Troop and the Kurta clan. The Phantom Troop is a powerful and ruthless organization, and they will not take kindly to the death of one of their members. They are likely to see this as a direct attack on their organization, and they will not rest until they have exacted revenge. This means that a war between the two groups is inevitable. It will be a dangerous and violent conflict. And Rex has played a crucial role in creating this conflict. He must be prepared for the consequences of his actions. Chapter 30. Uvogin stood in front of Krilo, his eyes blazing with anger. He was known for his immense strength and short temper. He had just received news that one of his comrades had been killed, and he was consumed with rage. With a fierce roar, he punched a wall with all his might, his monstrous aura erupting out of him like a volcano. Walls crumbled under the force of his blow, and Uvogin stood panting, his chest heaving as he glared at the destruction he had wrought. I can't believe they killed Sheila. I'll make them pay for what they've done, I swear it, Uvogin yelled. Krilo quickly wanted to de-escalate the situation. Uvogin, calm down. We will get justice for our fallen leg, but we must be smart about it. Lashing out in anger will only make things worse. But Krilo's efforts couldn't calm Uvogin down. You don't understand, Krilo. They need to pay for what they've done. I won't be able to rest until they do. I understand how you feel, Uvogin. But we are the Phantom Troop, we have many enemies lusting for revenge. As far as we know, this could be a trap. I'm pretty sure this is but a provocation for us to engage in battle or nearing the place of our enemies. I'll come up with a plan to strike back at them in a way that they won't see coming. Fine. But I won't be able to hold back for long. They have to pay for what they've done. A grin formed on Krilo's face. I know, Uvogin. And they will. But for now, let's focus on coming up with a plan to take them down. Krilo stood with his usual calm demeanor, but inside he was struggling a bit. He had just received news that one of his closest friends had been killed, and the pain was tearing him apart. Despite his composed appearance, he was slightly consumed with grief and anger. However, he knew that he had to stay strong for the sake of the Phantom Troop. He took a deep breath and pushed his emotions aside, determined to keep a cool head for the sake of his comrades. He would grieve for his fallen friend in private, but for now, he had to remain focused on the revenge. Maki and Pakunoda stood in front of Sheila's severed head, their expressions somber. They had known Sheila for many years, and they couldn't believe that she was gone. They looked saddened as they glanced at the lifeless face of their former friend. They both felt a pang of sorrow in their hearts. They didn't know who had killed Sheila or why, but they knew that they would have to find out in order to seek justice for her. With heavy hearts, they turned away from the grisly scene and began to plan their next move. Krilo turned to Phaeton, his expression serious. Phaeton, I need you to analyze Sheila's head. We need to find out who killed her and why. Can you do that? Phaeton nodded, his eyes already focused on the grisly task at hand. Of course, I will do my best to find out what happened to her. Kurlo nodded, satisfied. Good. We need to find out who is responsible for this. We need to do it quickly. Time is of the essence. Phaeton nodded again and set to work, his keen intellect and analytical abilities already at work as he began to examine the evidence before him. Kurlo watched him for a moment, then turned to the rest of the Phantom Troupe. Kurlo looked around at the members of the Phantom Troupe, his expression almost stoic. We need to decide what to do about Sheila's death. Who among us, Seuss, wants to seek revenge against whoever did this? Several of the members raised their hands, including Uvogin and Phaeton. Kurlo nodded, satisfied. All right, those of you who have volunteered will form a team and go after whoever is responsible for Sheila's death. The rest will continue with their regular tasks and provide support as needed. Let's move quickly and efficiently, and let's make sure that whoever did this pays for their crime. The members of the Phantom Troupe nodded, their determination and resolve clear on their faces. Rex stood in front of his disciples, his expression serious. My dear disciples, I have some important news. One of the members of the Phantom Troupe has spotted me, and they are calling for the others to come and attack the village. The Kurtas looked at him with concern, some of them clutching their fist tightly. Master Eisen, what should we do? One of them asked. I guess this means goodbye? Said Rex softly. No, some of the Kurtas screamed. We will defend the village, with you, Eisen. Rex thought for a moment, then nodded. Is that the voice of everyone? Surprisingly, all 25 of his pupils including Kurapika and Pyro nodded in agreement. Yes, suddenly Niccolo came out of the bushes. Mr. Eisen, I would be against having you here. Since you idiot caused the Phantom Troupe to soon arrive to this poor village. But for the sake of the whole clan, please defend it. Even if you flee, they are going to attack us. I know how they operate. They are greedy. Even if you weren't to be present, their greed would cause them to take everything including our own scarlet eyes. Even without you, this was just a matter of years until they would have done that. Ha ha ha, Rex gave out a weak laughter. We will defend the village. But we must be strategic about it. We will split into teams and set up defensive positions around the village. When the Phantom Troupe arrives, we will fight them with all our strength and skill. And we will not give up until they are defeated or until we are no more. His disciples nodded, their faces determined. They would fight to defend their village, their parents, their siblings, and their master, no matter the cost. Rex's disciples quickly gathered their weapons and prepared for combat. The archers took their bows and quivers of arrows, while the knife-wielders grabbed their daggers and knives. They moved quickly and efficiently, their training and experience making them well suited for the task at hand. They were all highly skilled in the use of Nen. They had mastered the 3 principles of Ten, Zetsu, Ren, and even advanced ones like En, In, Ko, Ken, Gyo, Shu. The Kurtas were able to use their aura with precision and control. Rex looked at his disciples, his expression serious. The Phantom Troupe are powerful opponents, and each one of them has a unique ability known as a Hatsu. I have not yet taught you how to use your own Hatsu, but I promise that I will do so after we emerge victorious in this battle. The Kurta looked at him with confusion and concern. Master Rex, what is a Hatsu and how do we defend against them? One of them asked. Rex stood before the Kurtas, his expression grave. He had just finished explaining to them what Hatsus were. And even the Hatsus of all Phantom Troupe members. Despite their lack of a Hatsus, the Kurtas looked determined and resolute. They had trained hard under Rex's guidance, and they were ready to defend their village against the Phantom Troupe. They clutched their weapons tightly and readied themselves for the upcoming battle. Chapter 31. Rex stood beside the fences that surrounded the Kurta village, his experienced eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of the Phantom Troupe. He was eagerly awaiting their arrival. Currently he was on the phone with Naiki, who was laying on a cliff, overlooking the forest. "Any sign of them?" Rex asked, his hand gripping his dagger tightly. "Not yet," Naiki replied. "But I'll let you know as soon as they appear." Rex nodded, his anticipation growing as he prepared for the imminent battle. "So, Naiki, since we have so much time," Rex said as Naiki waited for him to continue, "tell me about your past. I hear you were found on the streets by Aziel." "Oh, curious?" Naiki replied, his voice sounded amused. "I don't like to talk about it much, but I was basically living on the streets when Aziel found me. I'm pretty sure you can relate to this." "Shut up," Rex said, annoyed. "What's with you today, Rex?" "Anyways, he took me in and gave me a new purpose. I've been with the organization ever since, fighting for what I believe in." "I see," Rex said, respecting Naiki's desire not to dwell on his past. "But you've come a long way since then. You're a valuable member of the organization. Maybe not the most valuable, but strongest." "I suppose I am," Naiki said, his voice gaining a measure of pride. "Well, anyways, Naiki, not gonna apologize for the stab wounds you caused me? It still hurts." "Well, not really, but I had to sacrifice one of my treasures to heal me. I couldn't just." "Rex, I just saw something strange. There's a man walking towards the village in a really odd way. He almost looks like a zombie," said Naiki, interrupting him. "He's moving very fast and he's stumbling around. It's almost like he's in a trance or something." "Aight, keep me updated." Rex fixed his eyes on the horizon. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the fields and forests that surrounded the village. But the peacefulness of the scene was shattered by the sounds of fear. For the past 3 days, the ordinary Kirta villagers had been barricading themselves inside their homes, following the warning from Rex that the phantom troop would be arriving soon. He could hear the sound of hammers and nails as people frantically worked to fortify their homes. He could see the fear in their eyes as they hurried about, unsure of what the future held. But Rex was focused on the task at hand, waiting for the phantom troop to appear. He could feel the tension in his muscles, ready to spring into action at a moment's notice. As he waited, he took a deep breath, calming his mind and preparing for what was to come. Then, that strange man was finally at sight. "Archery squad, shoot down that man walking towards the village. Do it now," Rex yelled to his disciple, the Kirta archery squad. They quickly pulled out their bow and arrow, aiming at the man. "Do not let him come any closer, protect the village at all costs," Rex shouted. The archers nodded and released arrows, striking the man, causing him to fall to the ground. Boom. Suddenly, the man exploded in a deafening blast that shook the ground and sent shockwaves through the whole village. Debris was scattered everywhere. The Kirtas all covered their ears with their hands, trying to block out the noise. The man was wearing a bomb suit? Rex pondered as he saw the crater that was caused by the explosion. Had they intended to cause as much destruction as possible? If so, they would need much more. Suddenly, Naiki's voice came over the phone, shouting out a warning to him. "Rex, I see many people like that man running towards the village. They're coming from all directions." Rex thought for a bit. "Alright, everyone listen up." He then shouted out to his disciples. "I need half of the dagger-wielding squads to switch to bows and arrows, even if you're not perfect at it. We need to take down as many of those suicide bombers as we can before they reach the village." The Kirtas nodded and quickly began making the switch, readying themselves for the impending attack. Rex knew that it wouldn't be easy, but he was determined to do everything in his power to keep the village safe. Pyro and Kurapika had been stationed in the village hall to guard the people hiding there, which included Niccolo. They were not involved in the battle that was raging outside, but they could hear the explosions and shouts of the other disciples. The two of them stood nervously at their posts, unsure of what was happening. Kurapika's hands were shaking as he clutched a Ben's knife tightly, while Pyro kept peeking out a hole in the wall, trying to catch a glimpse of the battle, but he couldn't see anything. After hours the battle was still fought at the edge of the village. As they waited, they could only hope that their fellow Kurtas would be able to fend off the attackers and keep the village safe. Pyro kept glancing at Kurapika, trying to gauge his reaction to the situation. Then, the explosions ended. The village was surrounded by large craters, forming an oval shape, caused by the explosions of the attackers. Water from a nearby river was beginning to fill the craters, creating a natural barrier that could protect the village in the near future. 1 hour has passed and the bombings has stopped. Rex's disciples were already celebrating, thinking that they had successfully fended off the phantom troop. But Rex knew better. He knew that the real battle was yet to come. Then, Rex's sixth sense kicked in and he could feel that someone was watching him. In an instant, he drew his bent knife and blocked the sword that was swung at him at an almost impossible speed. The sound of two blades clashing was like a ringing bell, echoing through the air. Kurta clan members turned towards the sudden sound of clashing swords. They saw a small, black-haired man wielding a sword with an umbrella handle. To them, it seemed as though the man had teleported into their midst, appearing out of nowhere. But Rex, with his enhanced perception, was able to see all of the man's movements, tracking him as he darted around with incredible speed and skill. The Kurta clan members were stunned by the man's sudden appearance and quick movements, unsure of how to respond to this unexpected threat. Rex, however, remained focused, his eyes locked on the man as he prepared to engage in combat. Phaeton grinned wickedly as he launched himself at Rex, his sword flashing as he sought to take Rex down. Chapter 32. Phaeton leaped forward with an explosive jump, his sword swinging towards Rex. But Rex easily deflected Phaeton's sword with his dagger, allowing the blade to flow aside. His eyes were wide open as his sword was easily deflected by Rex. He hadn't expected his opponent to be so strong, as all his other enemies were usually finished with less than one blow. Before he knew it, Rex had kicked him with an incredible force, sending him flying out very far of the village, into a nearby rock. But Rex was not given a chance to rest. Suddenly a huge fist came flying at his face. It was Uvogin. Big bang impact. Rex quickly ducked and executed a low spin with his leg extended, which hit Uvogin's shin with great force, almost breaking his leg and even cancelling Uvogin's Hatsu. Bound by the pain, Uvogin cursed at Rex and tried to catch him in close combat again. "You little fucker," he yelled. "I'll make you pay for that." But Rex kept jumping away, dodging Uvogin's attacks with agile movements, eventually leaving the village and entering the forest. After a few backward spins and evasions, Uvogin had an idea and ran as fast as he could towards the village. "I'll just tear down this whole fucking retarded village if that's what it takes to get you," he shouted. But the Kurta were prepared and shot their nen-infused arrows at Uvogin. As he ran closer to them, the first few arrows did nothing to stop him. But when he was almost upon the archers, hundreds of arrows hit him, and even a tank like Uvogin was a bit hurt by this. Thus he was frustrated, which fueled his anger even more. In addition, the archers were protected by Rex's strongest disciples, dagger squads, which would distract Uvogin for a short time when he got close, giving the archers time to create a good distance between them. But just as Uvogin was in the midst of his dilemma, Phaeton extended his arm from the jagged rock and freed himself from its grasp. With a fierce determination, he climbed out of the deep hole that Rex had kicked him into with incredible force. He quickly brushed the dust and sharp rock particles away from his clothes and stood up with a fierce look in his eyes. "Next time, you won't catch me off guard, you fucking bitch." Phaeton's fist began to swell with veins and his fingernails rapidly elongated, resembling the sharp claws of a ferocious tiger. It was a highly advanced and deadly assassination technique. He began to approach Rex, but instead of attacking directly, he circled around him to catch him off guard with many doppelgangers appearing and surrounding his opponent. It was a technique that Rex was familiar with. Another highly advanced technique. Rhythm Echo. It's the same he used against the Chimera at Zazan. From every conceivable direction, Phaeton's arm extended towards his enemy, fingers were elongated into deadly claws. But Rex was ready, He deftly blocked each attack with his knife, the sparks flying as their weapons clashed. Despite his best efforts, he couldn't land a hit on Phaeton, as each time he thought he had the upper hand, it turned out to be just another one of the countless doppelgangers. As the battle between Phaeton and Rex raged on, both were starting to feel the strain of the intense fight. But as the fight reached its climax, Rex made a risky move. He dropped his dagger, a weapon that had served him well in battle, and stood with his arms at his sides, a smile on his face. I guess only assassins can kill assassins. But Phaeton was not about to be caught off guard again. He narrowed his eyes, ready to defend himself against whatever trick Rex had up his sleeve. To Phaeton's surprise, however, Rex's right hand began to transform. His veins swelled and his fingernails elongated. It was the same deadly assassination technique Phaeton used against him. How do you know that technique? Are you from the Mafia? Rex ignored him and just smirked as he spotted the right Phaeton out of the 100. He then suddenly kicked the dagger that was on the ground at full strength. Phaeton tried to avoid the dagger, but it still managed to graze his hand. As the fake Phaetons continued to circle around him, Rex saw that the real Phaeton was starting to bleed at a fraction of a second earlier than his doppelgangers. Covering it caused nothing, as he noticed the blood dripping. After fighting for a few more minutes, Phaeton finally saw an opening and attacked Rex with his clawed hand. But Rex was ready, and with lightning-fast reflexes, he caught Phaeton's hand with his left and pulled him towards him. With a burst of strength, he struck in the right side of Phaeton's body with his right claw-like hand, only missing his heart by an inch because Phaeton jumped to avoid it. This causing Phaeton, a skilled assassin resistant towards pain, to feel a slight pain. And despite the injury, Phaeton freed himself and made a big jump backwards, grinning. He was surrounded by a powerful aura as he summoned his Hatsu, Pain Packer. The Hatsu clothed him in a white armor, consisting of a black, red and yellow markings. Phaeton's drip, greater than. Now I return the pain, he said menacingly. He then created a pure white ball in front of him that seemed to swallow up all of his aura. The ball glowed brightly, emanating a powerful energy that seemed to pulse and throb with life. Phaeton stood tall, low, and proud, his eyes fixed on the ball as he channeled all of his strength into it, and with a final surge of energy, the ball shot high into the air. As the ball silently flew up, Phaeton yelled out his Hatsu's name. Rising Sun. The ball transformed into a miniature version of the sun. The sun radiated a blinding light, casting a warm glow over the battlefield. But near the sun that Phaeton had created, the heat was intense, almost like hell itself. Rex gathered all of his aura to create the most durable, thick, and greatest 10 technique he could muster, but it seemed to have little effect against the heat. Despite using his protective 10 layer to shield himself, the heat seemed to pass right through it, which was making Rex feel like he was standing right amidst of fire. Phaeton, on the other hand, had a sadistic smile on his face. He didn't seem to be affected by the heat at all, thanks to his Hatsu Pain Packer, which provided him immunity against it. He watched as Rex struggled against the intense heat, a look of twisted pleasure on his face. Phaeton slowly approached Rex, his face still grinning. You were smart to hurt me so much. You will suffer a much shorter death. The more pain I feel, the hotter the sun gets. Now you will die for what you did to her. As Phaeton stood facing Rex, a sudden movement caught his eye. A person appeared out of nowhere, quickly touching Rex's shoulder before disappearing in a flash of light. Phaeton's eyes widened in shock as he realized what had just happened. Someone had teleported him away? He stood there for a moment, trying to slowly process what had just occurred, before turning back to the empty space where Rex had just stood. This fucker. And that's a wrap, hunters. Another amazing Hunter x Hunter fanfic completed. Massive shout out to the original author for this hidden gem. Their links are in the description, so be sure to show them some love. If you're new here and love HxH as much as I do, drop a like and consider hitting that sub button to officially become a hunter. Your support seriously keeps me going and give me enough motivation to keep uploading. Don't forget to check the community posts. I'm always running polls, asking for feedback, and letting you vote on what I should do next. I'm still learning the ropes on YouTube, so your input means a lot. That's it for now. Peace out.